Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we are diving into Lincoln National Corporation's latest report, and let me tell you, there are some interesting changes afoot, almost like they are trying to slim down and get a bit more flexible. We are going to look at everything from executive pay to board member counts. It's like a corporate makeover show, but with spreadsheets instead of stylists. Asked before we get started. If you enjoy getting the lowdown on corporate filings in plain English, make sure to subscribe and join our Discord community. Link is in the description below for more in-depth discussions. This is an 8K filing, which is like a quick update companies give when something important happens. This one is from May of 2025. So what exactly did Lincoln National want to tell us? Well, first off, shareholders approved a change to the company's incentive compensation plan, basically how they pay their executives. This is amendment number 4 to the Lincoln National Corporation 2020 incentive compensation plan. What does that mean in plain English? It means they've tweaked the rules of how they reward their top people. This time they changed the rules for the 4th time. This change does 2 important things. First, it increases the number of shares available for the executives. Specifically, they're adding 1,750,000 shares that can be given out. It also raises the maximum amount of cash an executive can get from $8,000 to $12,000 per $12,000 per year for annual incentives and cash performance awards. So basically, executives can now make more. If you want more details on the plan, you can check out the company's proxy statement from April of 2025. But basically, what you need to know is the folks at the top can make more money. This could be seen as a good move to keep executives happy, but also raises the question of whether the performance will justify it. Next up, let's talk about the board of directors. The board approved an amendment to their bylaws. In other words, they changed their own internal rules. Specifically, they decreased the number of authorized board members from 11 to 10, one less seat at the table. This probably means someone left or retired, and they decided not to replace them. Having fewer board members means each person has more influence, but it also could mean less diverse opinions in the room. All right, let's dive into what happened at their annual meeting, where shareholders got to vote on some important stuff. First, shareholders elected the 10 directors to the board. All 10 nominees got the thumbs up for a term lasting until the meeting in 2026. Let's look at the votes to see if anyone was particularly loved or not so much. Okay, here's what is interesting. While all directors were elected, the vote counts weren't exactly uniform. For Deirdre P. Connolly, there were about 3,600 and 1,028 votes against, while for Reginald E. Davis, only about 1,669,781 votes were against. Now, these are still pretty small numbers, considering there were about 113 million votes for, so it's not red alert situation, but it's something to keep an eye on. Are there any issues with the board that the company should be addressing? Next up, the shareholders ratified or approved Ernst & Young LL as the company's independent auditor for 2025. Basically, shareholders agreed with the company's choice for the people who check their financial books. Then there was a vote on executive pay called an advisory resolution. It's non-binding, meaning the company doesn't have to follow it, but it's a good way to gauge shareholder sentiment. Most shareholders approved of how much the executives were paid, although there were about 7 million votes against it, which means that about 6 million shareholders were happy with executive compensation still. That level of dissent suggests there is more scrutiny of those big payouts. Going back to the paychecks, the shareholders voted to approve the previously discussed amendment to the Lincoln National Corporation 2020 incentive compensation plan with about 35 million voting against. Finally, there was a shareholder proposal to have an independent board chairman. In other words, someone who isn't also the CEO. But this proposal didn't pass. Shareholders voted against it. This means the company can keep its current structure, where the CEO might also be the chairman. This can concentrate power, but it might also lead to less oversight of management. And that's it for the major points in this 8K tune. So what's the big picture here? So Lincoln National seems to be streamlining its board while sweetening the pot for its executives. And these two things might be related. The shareholders weren't completely on board with everything, especially executive pay and the chairman setup. So that's something the company will need to manage. A possible risk is that higher executive pay without clear performance metrics could upset investors if the company doesn't deliver. Also, not having an independent board chair might raise questions about corporate governance. But on the other hand, if these moves lead to better performance and a more focused strategy, Lincoln National could be in a stronger position. Alright, that's our breakdown of Lincoln National's latest filing. What's your take on these changes and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.